gigantic charge. Bjergsen doing the heavy lifting.
Slowly but surely, I feel like we are aligning a bit more on how we see the game, and we can beat all these teams. It's just a matter of, how much we can continue to improve.
Going into the regular season spring split was kind of bittersweet because, I feel like we have a really, really strong roster, but we couldn't play with all our 5 players, which we still felt like, we felt confident that we could still beat any team. Each time you change a small piece of your team, like one player, the whole way you play the game changes.
Some of the weeks we had a lot of progression. Some of the weeks were more just filler weeks in the sense that the result in the weekend mattered more than the progress. Core came in, played a week, then Bill came back, played a week, and then Core came back with his green card that could actually play.
So now I'm just really excited now that we have the full roster again, that now we can start progressing how we want to play as a team, us 5 players. So now I'm really excited.
Oh, that feels so good, guys.
I'm joking.
Not bad, guys.
Nice.
I cannot stay top, okay? I can't has ult.
Only you can change it, you get
He shouldn't be able to one-shot me.
I thought the same thing. Dude, I was like, there's no way she can come here without E, and she just murdered me.
The beginning of the season obviously had some bumps, kind of struggling to find our exact way of communicating in the game because we're switching out players all the time. We even ended up playing some games with Bradley and Jan, and I also got COVID very early on in the year, which really, I lost a lot of momentum, I felt like, individually around my play, and even after I was done being sick, I felt just a lot more tired than usual, and it was hard for me to kind of bring the same energy and focus to scrims, but things are looking up. We got our 5-man roster together, no one has been sick, and we're kind of getting everyone back in the office together, and that's been feeling really good. I'll play one more, I think, coming. It's still great. So.
Yeah, Bjerg's over here. So I played with Bjerg in 2014 and 2015. Playing with Bjerg back then, it was a very different experience because we were both very young people. So, there's a lot of immaturity, a lot of just focusing on yourself and seeing what you can do better. Whereas now when I play with Bjerg, I'm like, this guy's a completely different player. He's a different person. He's a lot more about the team and how he can help anyone get better, including himself. And he way more flexible. He's just just an overall better human being. And I feel the same about myself. So I'm kind of happy to play with him again.
I think it's almost like playing with a new player, and I think for him too, because we are just such different people and players than we were back then that I don't really know if we can really compare. We have a level of kind of friendship from knowing each other and talking over the years, but as a teammate, this is a new player that I'm playing with because he has learned so much from all those years.
I do have very good memories from the beginning of my career with Bjergsen. We won Spring Split, we also won IM Katowice, so there's history where we did win, and that also brings more motivation and hope that we can do it again. So I just really want to win a split again and do well at Worlds with him.
Oh my god. You don't need the TSM huddles, right?
I leave Team Liquid huddles.
Okay. Team Liquid win rate was pretty good. So.
Alright guys, we're first place. Let's do well. Keep it up. I know we can play some good League of Legends. Hans Thomas said we have high ceiling. I believe in everyone.
Liquid on 3?
Alright, Liquid on 3. 1, 2, 3, Liquid!
Well, it's defending champions versus lock-in champions, the team that's currently at the top of the table in Team Liquid.
We are just happy gaming.
I think this is the welcome to the HS game, guys. Yeah, go.
Yeah. I can just E on him.
He's trying to proc phase rush. Nice, guys.
Nice, good job.
Blood goes through for Bjergsen.
Leona is here.
I'm ready to fight.
Come.
I'm coming.
We should go first. We go first. Rise is so far.
Time. Big damage on to Leona. Hansama gets away. Who he is dead.
Can you go? Nice, good play.
Okay.
Now we are
they're going here.
They're engaging. Go down. We can fight.
Yeah.
Tipping. I have Zonius. I don't have flash.
I'm trying to focus Tryndamere. Just keep kiting.
I'm going on Jinx here.
Lee,
Jinx
no
flash.
Lee.
Look Tryndamere. Look Tryndamere though. Look Tryndamere.
Team Liquid fight.
Yeah. Lee. I'm looking Jinx after.
Jinx
No flash Jinx. Yeah, the game is over. Nice well played, guys.
Well play, guys. Well play. That was fun game actually.
Bjergsen finally had one of those pop-off games. It was really good. It was kind of instrumental in winning.
It is all these small plays that come together when you have a matchup of this caliber with these two teams.
Breaking news.
Bjergsen is looking to return to pro play in 2022.
Bjergsen returning to professional play in 2022. It's a good choice.
A huge deal as he was one of the best mid laners in the game.
I was excited and a little bit nervous that I might really suck because I barely played the game for a year. I didn't know if I would be able to kind of get back on my level, how long that would take. I knew my game knowledge around the game was pretty good, but being able to execute and see those things as you're playing this dynamic game can be really hard, and that's a skill that I really needed to train back up.
For Bjerg, the biggest thing is perspective. What it's like to be a player, what it's like to be a coach. And one of the things that defines Bjerg a lot is his eye for details. He's looking at every detail.
He's just a robot, in a way. I think that this is the thing that everyone always talks about Bjergsen, and it's just true. Like I think his work ethic is very, very good. The way that he takes notes about his game and how much he watches the game.
I can quickly tell that I'm at least as good, if not better, than most of the mid laners here already. Even though I feel like I'm still kind of far from my peak, but I'm working up towards it again. I was a bit worried coming from being a coach that I would come in and be a player and I would think that my coaching staff is like really bad, but actually I think that Andre and Jonas are really good, and that makes me feel a lot better because I can more so just focus on my play as like an in-game part of the game. I think I learned a lot from being a coach, and throughout my entire time here at TL, I talk a lot to Kyoto and Cold and give them some ideas of what they can do differently or encourage them when they're doing things well that I really like, that I think are really helping the team. And I hope they think that I'm helpful sometimes. Maybe I'm annoying because I'm always talking to them about stuff.
When it comes to the perspective of coaching, obviously it helps. Just like exchanging feedback becomes more natural because he also understands my point of view. I think that people have this assumption that when you have a super team that the coaching job is easier, and I kind of feel like it's harder because of how much outside of the box you have to think to be able to put everyone on the same page. Like I can rely more on the players, but at the same time it's just another different way of thinking about the game that then I need to find the common places. In that sense it's also harder. Even on the games that we win, there is usually a scenario where we just completely throw the game. This one is kind of like a constant where there is a moment in the game that we lose our minds.
Cloud9's already got one, but it's going to be traded back. Support for support. Add another one to the pile as bwipo falls over. 2 for 1, 3 for 1. Cloud9, 4 for 1. TL fell apart in that fight.
That's what's happening in our losses. And it comes to the same thing. It comes to not being on the same page and a lot of other issues that we need to address. It also comes from us exploring other comps in preparation for playoffs that are not necessarily super comfortable with.
Chrono's here. I'm hiding.
Here?
I'm low-key looking.
On me. I'm getting
oh,
here.
No. Naku.
Yeah, I need to...
We got caught. We need to live.
It is now Baron. It is now Soul Point. Cloud9 are completely set up for success.
I was really strong in a great position in the Jax game, and I wasn't interacting with champions enough, and it led to a point where you make one mistake and the game's gone.
My bad. Okay.
The Herald was just not good, I think. Yeah, we should have gave it, I think. That's GG.
Yeah, it's okay.
Generally speaking, when playoffs are locked in, teams that are aiming to win playoffs are going to start preparing strategies for playoffs specifically. They're not going to just sit on their ass on whatever worked during the split and then play that out until the end. A lot of the mid-game macro issues that we had were like masked by the fact that we were always playing very high scaling comps. We were always winning front to back. We had very simple ways to win the game, and we were just rolling off that. And then the 2 games we lost, we obviously did not have this type of composition, and individual mistakes put us in positions where we actually had to get creative to try and win the game. And that's kind of what a team needs in order to grow and see like the real issues they have.
It's been hard at times aligning people because we have a lot of strong voices. But I think slowly but surely I feel like we are aligning a bit more on how we see the game and draft and different times of the game, how we want to play.
Before playoffs, I don't really care too much if we lose the regular season game, especially when we're also trying something new or something that we're not as used to. I've been on teams where we just keep doing the same style over and over again, and yeah, we're really good at this style, but if that's all you can play, you'll just get target banned, you know, like going into playoffs. So we're just making sure that we're ready when it matters.
This game was in my hands when I threw it, so it's really my bad. How much else to say?
Is it worth talking about the game, Jonas? When it's another situation where it's free as but we just don't want to make the game simple?
Not right now, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe later.
I think just talk about it before scrims on Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more productive. A few weeks ago we talked about like, okay, we have been playing a fairly one-dimensional style, playing through Core and Hans and then just kind of crushing bot lane and winning the game from there, but we're not really playing heavily to snowball on mid, top or jungle, and we don't want to be a one-dimensional or predictable team come playoffs. It's important that we do these things right now and take these losses now so we can be stronger in playoffs.
So next week is just going to be about making sure that the flaws that we saw this week, we are working on them during the week, and then when we go on stage, we are not repeating the same mistake. My expectation, or at least what I would be happy with, is if we don't throw mid-game any of the 3 games next week. Because we are being good at getting the leads consistently, we are also being very good at throwing them. So if we stop with the throw and keep with the leads, then I'll be very happy regardless of the results.
Yeah, the hope is definitely reaching my peak around playoffs. I think more recently I've been feeling better about my play and just my energy and my focus that I'm able to bring to practice and continuing to improve. I felt a bit tired for a while. Maybe I was getting a little bit burnt out because I wasn't able to play that much while I was sick, so I came back and I'm just like grinding all day, every day because I'm healthy now. You know, I'm gonna play non-stop, but I think that was a little bit excessive and I needed to find a healthier way of engaging with practice to get the most out of it, and I'm kind of getting back in there and finding that right balance for me. I think right in this moment, I wouldn't say we're just going to roll everyone over in playoffs, but I've been happy with our growth in the last 2 weeks, and I think if that continues in the next couple of weeks as we go into playoffs, we are going to be a really scary team, and we will be the best team. We were a little bit held back with swapping in and out players and also not being able to practice in person for a really long time because of COVID. I think that held back our improvement a little bit, and we got slotted into this kind of one-play style that was the safest way for us to win. But now that we're all here, everyone is healthy, it's really time to kind of push ourselves out of our comfort zone and try to be the scariest team that we can be.